In this video, there will be some F2L tips and some F2L algs, not too many algs. I just think these are some things that a lot of people don't know, so here we go. Whenever possible, especially for the first few pairs, it's better to insert it into the back slot rather than the front slot. So let's take this pair as an example, the blue-orange. I know I'm going to need to do a rotation in order to insert this. So for example, pair them up like this and insert into the front slot, or rotate to this side and insert it into the back slot instead. Now you see that if I insert into the back slot, I'll have two open front slots, which could have pieces in them that I want to deal with later. But if I insert it into the front slot, then I really don't have a lot to look ahead to. So that can really increase your efficiency during look ahead. So once I insert it into the back slot, then I have these two and I have these two, and it just makes look ahead a lot easier. This F2L case is pretty bad. So you have a misoriented edge next to the slot where it should be, and you have the corners facing upwards. So if you happen to be facing this edge from this angle, then you can put the corner over here and do a sledgehammer on this edge. And then you have your pieces set up and you can just insert it like that. And here's the mirror of the same case. So here's the edge misoriented next to the slot, and here is the corner facing upwards. You want to put it over here and then sledgehammer on the edge and insert it. Here we have a similar case where we have a misoriented edge inside a slot, but not the slot it should be in, and this time it's in the opposite slot instead of the slot next to where it should be. And again, the corner is facing upwards. So in this case, you'd be able to pair them up like this. And one thing you could do is to take it out and insert it, but a faster way to do it would be to do this. And then you can also do the mirror. So if you're facing this way, then you could insert it over here this way instead. So this is definitely one of the worst cases you can get in F2L. And for your last slot, there's nothing you can do but deal with it. But if you get it somewhere in the middle, you can actually get rid of this case. So if you see it while doing a different pair, then and you need to do something to pair this up, like these aren't paired up yet, then you can actually just break up this slot in order to pair these up. So for example, normally how you might do this one is like you want to use this slot, you want to break this slot in order to pair it. That's how you normally do it for at least if it was the last slot. But then right here, instead, I can use this slot and just do that. And then, wow, they paired up. But yeah, you can see how it prevents this case from happening, and then you could end up with a much nicer case. So my general idea for F2L algs is I don't want to do too many of them because, first of all, it's hard to memorize them, I guess. But also, if you use ones that have like wide turns, like wide Fs or like wide side turns, and or like X rotations, Z rotations, that makes look ahead a lot harder. So if you're doing it for your last slot and you're doing it for a specific reason, like orienting edges or like preserving something, or I don't know, then that's okay because you don't really need to look ahead and you're doing it to speed up yourself. But if it's somewhere in the middle, then usually it's better to go for the simpler option. At least that's my opinion. There are some times where using an alg is just like using a different alg that's very not intuitive is like a good thing. But there are cases where you should probably just go for the simpler one that makes it easier to look ahead. So I also like to avoid L2s and R2s when possible. Sometimes not possible, but like by R2, I mean like R2 that brings this edge to the top, because then you're kind of hiding some pieces that you might want to look ahead to. If it's an R2, like you start by doing this and then take that out, and then R2 as in like R prime to fix this, and then another R prime to take the other slot out, then that's a different sort of R2, if you know what I mean. Anyway, here's a case where I discovered an alg a long time ago, but I realized that a simpler option is better. What I do right now usually is insert the corner and then do this case, which is really simple and really easy to look ahead to. But what I found was this alg that starts with an L2, and it's pretty fast too, but the problem is if that wasn't last slot, it gets kind of hard to look ahead. So it's kind of up to you whether or not like what your stance on F2L algs is. Like I try to avoid them unless they're just so fast that there's no point in avoiding them. So this is one example of when I don't avoid an F2L alg because this one is so good, and I guess it hinders look ahead a little bit, but like it's okay. It's just really fast. Yeah, and it can if I see a line here, I can orient my edges that way. So so just because it's so fast, it's like okay, it hinders look ahead a little bit, but I get I guess I can get used to it. But then there's some other cases where look ahead gets really bad, so it's better to just go for whatever is the simpler option. If you have any questions about anything or anything was confusing, of course you can leave a comment. And I hope this video was helpful. See you next time.